we're just finishing up phase two. We're putting up our house wrap. That's the weatherproofing for the framework that we're doing. We got our footings set yesterday, so those will have to cure up for 24 to 48 hours before we can build on them. That'll be the last portion of framework that we have to do. We'll set our 6x6 posts on each of those pillars. We'll frame that out, and that'll pretty much wrap up phase two, leading into phase three, which will be the roof structure next week. Now the guys are finishing up the sheathing on the open bay side of the shop. Once we get the sheathing on all this framework here, we're going to switch over and set the top ridge beam. That's going to span from the far left jack stud all the way to the far right. That'll be our top ridge beam there for our 512 pitch roof. Once we get that set, we'll go ahead and start building the rafters. So the rest of this week, we're going to be working on the roof structure, setting the rafters. Once all the rafters are set, we'll work on getting our sheathing on the actual roof. We'll cut all our rafter tails and set the depth and height for our soffits and fascia board. Once all that's complete, we'll run our felt and start working on our metal roofing. We're looking to have all that complete by the end of next week. All right, so some things that we've seen in the past that other contractors sometimes forget is your corners here. So you got your studs that are 16 on center. That's so you can nail in your sheathing, OSB sheathing on the outside with the pre-marked black dots on the outside. When you get to the corners here, you don't just want to end on a 16 on center. You want to add an additional stud here so when you go to run your drywall, you actually have something that your drywall can sit against and hit in the corner. All these center things you see here is what's called blocking. Those are required for any walls over 10 foot tall. The purpose of those is to give rigidity to the wall itself and also to prevent a chimney effect in the event of a fire. So if a fire did happen on your lower outlets there, it's not going to chimney all the way up to the side of the wall. It'll kind of snuff it out as an extra safety feature. Some other things that we have in here, you can see we have all of our headers. Those are built out of 2x10s. Really you only need 2x6s, but we overbuild everything we do just to make sure, given that these are 14-foot walls. On our center beams here, because we have such a big LVL ridge beam, it's a 60-foot ridge beam going out, that's a lot of weight. We put 5 jack studs right here in the center of each wall to give extra support and transfer the load from the LVL all the way down to the concrete. That's really what you're trying to do with everything. That's the purpose of all of these headers, jack studs, is transferring the load from the roof structure through the wall all the way down to the concrete 12-inch footings. LVLs that we're using up top, we have 12-foot by 12-foot openings there. Technically, you could get away with using dimensional lumber, but we went ahead and did LVLs there just to overbuild it. Mm-hmm. All of our bottom sills are anchored into the 12-inch footing with redhead concrete anchors. They're 7 inches deep, every 6 foot, and doubled up in the corners. So in the event of a hurricane, none of these walls are going to kick off the foundation, or the building won't lift up itself.